Welcome to the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup for the 2016-17 season. We're here in Zeven in Germany for what is now round 4 of the World Cup. A very compact, fast course, lots of spectators out around the venue here, and we're expecting some great racing. So we're going to bring you the action from the women's race first of all. As you can see, the course goes from the straight and moves in towards the edge of the woodland with a couple of tricky sections through hurdles and into the pit before going up onto the top of the mound. It drops back down through the sand, works around the top corner of the course, back onto a very steep climb and bank before dropping back down into the pit. Returning back into the start with a number of tricky turns and corners that has seen some of our contenders in the races already struggling to get around the corners and stay on two wheels. Now the banking in the corner, although it's not got a great height gain, it's very, very steep indeed, and we're going to see a lot of riders struggle with that, particularly if they don't get a clean run into there. So in the World Cup overall, the top 10 standings, Noble in 10th, Van Looy in 9th, Farringer in 8th, Nash in 7th, Antonelli 6th, Compton 5th, Sanakant in 4th end. Top 3 is Amanda Miller in 3rd, Caroline Marnie in 2nd, and Sophie de Boer leading the rankings, and she will be wearing the series leaders jersey. Behind them then, Catherine Prendel leads the chase in 11th place. Helen Wyman in 12th. Now she's going to drop down, not present here today due to injuries sustained in a previous race. However, look out for Talita de Jong, who's likely to make her way up through the rankings even more. She's been on some sparkling form and taking a victory at Valkenburg in the previous round. In between, we should have had the Coxsider race. Unfortunately, though, that event having to be cancelled due to extreme winds that blew away most of the event infrastructure and caused a lot of damage around the continent. So the clock ticks away as we move towards race start. You can see a big long sand section for the riders to get through. The conditions here, well, it was very, very cold first thing this morning. The ground covered in frost. All of our spectators were well wrapped up against the cold here, and lots of new faces here as well, because we're back in Zeven for the first time. We've had a World Cup in Germany for in excess of 12 years, and the organisers here having done a fantastic job. So our riders all lined up. You can see the gloves are on. The riders trying to keep warm as the front row is lined ready to go. The clock ticking down to a race start. Everybody getting prepared for their racing here in Zeven today. We'll bring you all the action. And, myself, Matt Payne, on the mic today, bringing you a little bit of an inside information from the course. I had a walk around the course yesterday to check out just how tricky it is. It's very, very slippy on the muddier sections. There's one or two sections where a very hard subsurface, where it's gravelled, where it's compacted, hardened stone, and then soil over the top, which is quickly wearing away. So the front row of the grid, Jolien Verschoen on the left-hand side of the screen, followed by Katie Compton, then the world champion, Talita de Jong, and you can see the riders lined ready to go, and next to her, you can see all riders lined up. One to watch is going to be Sanakant, who is just to the left of Caroline Marnie, the French champion, and then Sophie de Boer, the World Cup leader, in the white jersey with the red band. Then Ellen Van Looy. Van Looy, who's been riding stronger and stronger, followed by Pavla Havlikova. That's the front row of the grid. Lots of strong riders on the front, but plenty of riders behind. So will it be Marnie who gets the whole shot, who goes off fast? It's very, very critical in this race in particular to get the front shot into the right-hand turn that comes from this finishing straight. So the riders will set off on the start. They've got 100+ meters of tarmac before just taking the right-hand turn. It's a 90-degree right-hand turn before twisting around onto an off-camber bank. The riders ready, lined up, ready to go. The lights on red at the moment that those lights go green, away go the riders. So race time has started. Who's going to be able to kick into this corner first? You see de Boer getting a great start here. Sanakant just dropping in behind Van Looy, trying to get on the wheel, as is Talita de Jong, but it's the series leader, the World Cup leader, going around the corner. Telenet UCI World Cup round 4 kicking off here. The women's race being led out by the series leader, being followed by the world champion. As you can see, riders fighting to get up. We know just how difficult it's going to be if they're not at the front. Ellen Noble just making a move on the right-hand side. You can see Jolien Verschoen just getting a bit of a bad start there. She was on the front row. The good, and she's dropped by the Telenet Fidea rider in number 19. She's just dropped a long way back as Ellen Noble goes up to the front now. Ellen Noble out on the course was looking good, and just sitting up near the front group there in a third wheel. So she was one of the riders who managed this course very, very well in practice. Can she make it pay off at this time round as the big horde of riders come streaming through? We said to watch out for lots of different riders in this, and there was talent further back through the grid as the riders take this right-hand turn, start dropping back down once again, and you're just going to see coming through the whole of the race field, one long line lined out, making the way the right, followed by the left-hand turn, and it is De Boer from Talita de Jong as they come around. Ellen Noble in third wheel, Van Looy in fourth wheel, lining up for the hurdles, and De Boer over there smoothing, no mistakes by anybody at the moment. So it's De Boer from Talita de Jong being followed by Noble, then Van Looy coming through. Looks like Sannekamp at the moment just inside that top 5 position. We expect her to move up a little bit more as the race goes on. Now it's a very fast course. You see from the course already lots of turns to go around, to lose speed slightly before accelerating up. At the moment, all of the riders in a long line. The gap's just starting to break up behind the top 15 riders, with the pace being set here by Sophie De Boer. Past the pit for the first time. They're going to take 2 right-hand turns before they head up on to the banking for the first time. And the steep hill that forms the core of this course here in Zeven in East Flanders. And De Boer wanting to come onto that climb first. It's very, very short, the height ascent, something in the region of about 10 meters in total, so not a mountain, but the organisers here do a fantastic job of making sure that they use every single millimetre, every inch of the course. So the riders over the top dropping down, and no mistakes from anybody at the moment. Then going into the long straight that will take them into the sand. 50, 60 metres of sand to be faced by all of the riders. So freshly raked, and De Boer hits it first, followed by Talita de Jong. Sannekamp now moving up into 4th place, up onto the shoulders almost of Noble. But De Boer, then Talita de Jong, followed by Noble, then Sannekamp. Van Looy comes around the outside. Looks like Majoris up in contention. The riders further down having to run. Just see in there the under-23 British champion and the under-23 world champion going through. Evie Richards not in the world champion's jersey because she's under-23 champion, but you can see this huge field now having to shoulder the bike and run. If you don't get a clean run of this sandpit, it's very, very difficult to keep the momentum going through. There's no ruts being formed. The organisers are wiping that clear as they come around one of the more technical sections of the course. They come along the bank on an off-camber, they drop right down. It's about a 3-metre drop, and then back up, and you can't quite see that drop from the camera angle, but you can see going up over the banking before dropping back down. All the riders choosing to run around this. Now it is rideable. We've seen some of the earlier races going around, and if anything, the course has actually dried out ever so slightly from this morning, so we expect to see the riders, if they do have a clean run, a little bit of time go through there, but it looks like De Boer just opening a little bit of a gap on Talita de Jong, going over on the north-east side of the course, of making the way up and down. These bankers are going to drop down, then it's a sharp left-hand turn now, almost hairpin to get back and up and over the bank. And they're going to take a long run along, so at the moment, De Boer looking composed. Talita de Jong focused on the back wheel. Noble looking very smooth at the moment. And then Sannekamp comes through. Those riders just at the top of the gap. Sannekamp comes up on the inside there, coming around that corner up onto the steep bank and dropping back down again. Now they're going to make their way around from here towards another technical drop-off. Features a drop over, outside down, into the back. Most of the spectators can't see this. Fortunately, we can, and you can see at the moment Sophie De Boer just about making it up over the top. Sannekamp stalling halfway up, and Noble runs straight into the back wheel, and that's going to cause a problem. So has Sannekamp, and Noble going to suffer from that. Look at this gap, it's opened right up now, and you can see that incident in between Noble and Sannekamp has distanced them from the top 2 riders here. So at the moment, De Boer and Talita de Jong opening it up, and it's Ellen Van Looy who goes chasing down now. So we're going to see this again. You can see Sanakant in the black, yellow and white going in. She goes up onto the top stalls and then he's run straight into by Noble. Noble then jams up against Sanakant. Sanakant just taking a little while to try and get going and can't get grip or traction, and it's allowed a lot of riders to come around the outside. Big disaster there really for Sanakant. That's not what we expected to see. Front can at the moment, we're watching Sophie Burr. She rides up onto the second to last step, but that steep bank up there, very, very steep indeed. About 45 degrees, very broken up. There's only one rideable line up there before you then make your way over the top and dropping down here. There's a steep little step to catch the front wheels. If you get this wrong, it can take away the front wheel. No problems for our two leaders. Van Looy comes around looking smooth in the chase. Looks like Delcombe's starting to get close at the moment as well. It's very interesting to see more Caspergens right up in contact. But these are the two leaders who've really opened the gap now. Sophie de Boer and Talisa de Jong, both of which were looking very, very smooth. And then Van Looy. Now Van Looy spent a lot of time on the course practicing. She's just in front of Maud Caspergens. So Caspergens at the moment is back into fourth place. Sanakant in fifth. But the rest of the field not too far back. The gap's not opened up massively. We're going to see some very exciting racing as this race goes on. Now we're expecting a lap time round about the 6-minute mark. So there'll be a lot of laps around the race circuit. But de Boer and de Jong heading back around to the pit. Now they pass the pit for the second time. The riders are able to exchange bikes if they need to. You can see the encouragement there to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing from the sidelines, because they need to keep that gap opened up. If they maximise that gap at the moment, it's going to put pressure on the riders behind to chase back on. These two could work together and break clear. There's not too much wind here at Zeven for round 4 of the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup. However, there's still a big advantage in being in a little group of clear at the front. It gives you a little bit more breathing room. Now into these final corners, earlier on seen riders crashing down on these corners as they come in towards the finish. It's very, very slippy indeed before you get back onto the tarmac, but it's Talisa de Jong now who comes around the right-hand side of de Boer. De Boer quickly onto that back wheel as they come down, and they're going to see them come and complete this lap. Well conditions at the moment and looking like it's going to be a very interesting race, because the women at the moment out at 7 minutes 44 for Talisa de Jong, and Sophie de Boer in second place, Van Looy in fourth place, currently 4 seconds down. She's got more Caspergens on her wheel. Ellen Noble in sixth, Azufi in seventh, Tiochi in 8th, then Majoris in 9th, Haldekova in 10th, 11th is Katie Compton, Virgin Shot down in 12th place. So the riders are really stretched out behind. 20 seconds covering the top 14 riders here after lap 1 at Zeven. At the moment, it looks like Sanakant is the one who's having to put the pressure on to try and chase down the leading two riders. She knows the danger she's raced against both these riders all season long in the multi-venue races. We've seen lots of races, not just on the Belgium on the continent, but also, of course, going over a lot of the riders taking the trip to do the early part of the World Cup in the States for Jingle Cross and for Cross Vegas. Now, one of those riders who didn't do that was Talisa de Jong, and she's now on the campaign trail trying to pick up at the maximum amount of points, and been very, very strong this season on the front of the race, trying to just stretch that pace out. De Boer sitting behind. De Boer had a very successful trip to the States and travelled well. Sanakant, the rider in the black, yellow and red, the Belgian champion. One of those riders who didn't travel so well and didn't really start her campaign off as you would have expected of somebody of the quality of Sanakant. Right behind her then, Van Looy, having closed up for the Telenet Fidea team. At the moment, 4 riders sitting on the front trying to keep the pace high enough to distance everybody else. Just coming back into touch, looks like Al-Sufi has managed to make a contact, and it's a big gap starting to open back to the best of the rest. You can just see there, looks like Katie Compton just making her way through in part of that trailing group at the moment. Now, this group has come back together. That initial advantage that was taken by de Boer and de Jong has been negated. It's been closed down by Sanakant, who's dragged up pretty much all the rest back onto the bank once again before the long run down towards the sandpit. And this time it's de Jong who doesn't quite make it round without stalling. see the crowd encouraging the riders to come through now. Leading the chase behind, it looks like it's Compton who's gone to the front of that chasing group, trying to close them down. But De Boer smoothly into the sand. Sanderkant trying to follow, just focused on the back wheel. You can see, though, after all of the riders have run through here, just what it's done. There's no defined rut now. De Jong has another problem, just has to jump back off the bike. She's going to lose time jumping back on. Looks like Lloyd are going to be very close behind. And it's not just the time that you lose, you get sand that caught up in the mud underneath your shoes, and that then forms a real sticky, concretey paste that's going to stick inside your shoes. You see all of the race field start to make the way through. Evie Richards there running in and around the turn. So just inside the top 15, I think, for Richards at the moment, as the race leaders make the way around the technical section up at the back of the course. Verdun shot there, just taking his time to get around that corner, get settled before she gets back on the bike. Now De Boer on the front, Sanderkant tracking the back wheel of De Boer. So De Boer have been in all the right places at the moment to make the most of any mistakes from behind. Lisa De Jong just distanced a little bit after the sandpit, not closing them down too quickly. Then behind Van Looy and Al-Soufi just trying to close up the gaps as well, but it's De Boer now at the front of the race. Sanderkant behind, just labouring over the bike a little bit on that banking, just using her body weight to keep the momentum going. And you can see the focused look of the Belgian rider closing it down on the back of Sophie De Boer. De Boer comes around the hairpin turn back onto the banking before dropping down and then into the very technical drop off at the back. So a left-hand turn, just one nice smooth rutted line there, take you up over, then they drop down the banking, the drop into this turn. Now this is where Sanderkant was run into last time. She didn't make it up this bank, De Boer did, but De Boer keeps the momentum going just about. Sanderkant just losing a little bit of time there, just stalling. And that's just taken a back off the wheel this time. So now De Boer going up there smoothly. Once again, it's got over the top, just opened a little bit of a gap that then Sanderkant will need to close down. You can see the riders are using every centimetre of this course, going right to the outsides of the corners, trying to maintain as much speed as possible. Carrying that speed through enables you to keep that momentum going, particularly when they're going to come into the steep banking once again. And two riders now just ever so slightly clear of the rest. It's not going to be a race, a winning move, but certainly it means that they're expending the right amount of energy, going at the pace they want to go onto the banking. You can see the race is just making the way up onto the top of the bank. Off the bike on the first section this time for De Boer and for Sanderkant. None of the riders able to ride up as De Boer comes dropping down this very bumpy section. The ground underneath very, very hard indeed. The soil just being washed away as the riders have come down there time and time again, not just in the races but in the practice before. At the moment it looks like it's going to be Al-Soufi who is in the chase there behind, leading that chase through. Verdun shot goes through. She's being tracked by Pavla Havlik over there. Havlik over the Czech Republic, just making her way round the bottom of the descent. The race leaders now start to make their way back up and round onto the top of the hill. They come around these turns. You can see now it's De Boer from Sanderkant. They take the left-hand turn. They're going to start dropping back down again until De Jong looks to have closed up ever so slightly. She's got Van Looy with her, but this time it looks like those gaps not stretching out too much as a result of the problem in the sand. For De Jong, she's been very, very strong all the season, we said before, and riding strongly at Ross to take a victory. At Valkenburg, she took victory even though she had a slide and a problem, and coming off on the last lap, she still had enough of a margin to take victory. They're very, very tough courses that she's gone away on. I think the race is going to be much, much closer here today as we come around towards the end of lap 2. So De Boer going around into those turns ahead of Sanderkant here at the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup in Zeven. This De Boer from Sanderkant, then Talita De Jong, followed by Helen Van Looy. Still plenty of riders still in contact. About 15 riders at the moment within touching distance of that leader as they go through onto the tarmac now. Last time they came through here it was De Boer and Sanderkant with Talita De Jong not too far away. So let's see where they're going to B. Here we are, one group of 5 riders. Looks like Maud Casterton's got in touch as well. And then behind, starting to make her way up, is Arzufi. She's dragging a few of the riders up. It looks like Pavla Havlikova just sat in a no man's land in the middle. So Havlikova just being dropped in between the leading riders and the group behind, and then it's going to be Bakker followed by Marnie. Marnie at the moment in 12th place as they come round to complete lap 2. Evie Richards down into 15th, Low Cells in 16th place. Riders who are very, very strong, just being distant, I think, by the pace and the lack of mistakes by the riders at the front. As Van Looy now comes up to the front, comes along that banking, taking that left-hand turn. Now can Havlikova make her way onto the back of this group. She's looking very smooth in practice. Maybe not running as much of the course as some of the more powerful riders as Van Looy goes through. So Van Looy at the moment leading the race out. So Van Looy, who was riding strongly, took a 4th place as Gevaert in one of the recent races. Now up onto the front. She's a slightly taller rider than most of the rest as they come into the hurdles. Doesn't make those hurdles any easier. 40 centimetres high. Both hurdles separated between 4 and 6 metres apart. Nearer to 4 metres here at Zeven. All the leading riders over them, no problems at all. Practiced all those drills time and time again. Thousands of practices of getting on and off the bike at speed. No problems for any of these very professional riders up at the front. So Van Looy at the moment leading the race right on a wheel is Sanakan, then Sophie de Boer in 3rd wheel. Just taking a little look up the inside there. Sanakan maybe looking for an opportunity to get back up to the front. She does want to be caught behind any mistakes. So Talita de Jong up on the right-hand shoulder there. She's made one place up on De Boer and muscles De Boer out to the left-hand side. So at the moment it's Van Looy and Sanakan. Then it's a real battle between Sophie De Boer and Talita de Jong. Neither of them wanting to give away. And you can see coming into this climb, Sophie De Boer making a move up on the side of Sanakan. And over the top though it's Van Looy, then De Boer, followed by Sanakan. Then it's Talita de Jong right behind them. Then Maud Casterton goes through. She's in 5th place. In 6th place now, Katie Compton moving up to join that leading group. Arzufi comes through 7th place as they go into the sand. 1 or 2 riders just looking for a slightly better line as they come into the sand, but Van Looy no problems at all so far. She's riding smoothly through, as is Sanakan. Just stalls Sanakan on the way out, and then De Boer runs onto the back wheel. And these riders are able to just stretch out a little bit of a gap there on Katie Compton, who's worked her way up from 6th now up into 4th place. Talita de Jong now into 5th. Capuchins in 6th, 7th is Arzufi. Then it looks like a Verdun shot just making her way back into contention behind them. Then this is the chase, and as they come through, looks like Marnie is the rider of the best of the rest at the moment. Plenty of a race left to make up that ground. So round this turn, again, none of these riders are riding this time round. Sanakan leading from Ellen Van Looy, then it's Sophie De Boer, then Catherine Compton. So Katie Compton comes round that corner up into contention after a slower start. But Sanakan really now has the bit between her teeth. She knows she came around that corner. She'll have gained a little bit of advantage every time that you get off the bike and get back on again. If you're at the front, you're going to gain 1 or 2 centimetres, and that can soon stretch out to metres. And if they give Sanakan a head, she will be gone. She's been riding very impressively this season. I've been right up there on the top step a number of times already. Now can she make this a World Cup victory this time? She's certainly set out and stalled early. She was up there looking strong, looking like this is where she wanted to be. Now we will see if it's going to be today, because Sanakan comes around. She takes the left to turn. It's only a matter of 3 or 4 bike lengths in front of Van Looy. The Van Looy in front of De Boer by almost the same distance. So over they drop this time. Sanakan not taking the chance of being stalled, just having a little look back. You can see as they come around the corner, a look over the shoulder there by Sanakan. Sanakan comes streaming around the outside. She knows where she wants to be. A very quick acceleration to get around Van Looy there to get to the front of the race, and that gap now starting to open up. They need to respond very quickly indeed. There's been a bit of a gap behind now. What's happened to De Boer and Talita de Jong? Well, I think they've had a problem because they have both dropped back now. So it looks like there was a problem on that section. They dropped over the back of the course and they come back in a touch. And now that chasing group are being led by Maud Castellans. So Castellans goes through. Sanakan is leading the race up onto this banking. Doesn't make the bank the entire way up. Next comes Ellen Van Looy dismounting almost at the same place. The slope there around about 45 degrees before it levels and then kicks it again just as steep, if not more so. The riders then drop off this banking again, 45-degree banking as they drop down and man-made bank here in Zeven for round 4 of the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup. And that's Katie Compton now, who's got that descent now. She goes through Talita de Jong, not too far behind. Castellans almost in touch. And now Sanakant looking to go away to make this a clear gap between her and all the chasers. And Van Looy doesn't look to be able to respond at this stage, so we're just going to see whether she can get anywhere near. And you can see that gap just starting to open up as the riders go into an obstacle. The riders come closer together as the speeds decrease. The speeds increase as you drop down, or it's a smooth, fast section. That gap will increase. At the moment, certainly looking like Sanakant knows this is the time to make the move, to try and break clear. No trip into the pit further, the tech area, aligned with mechanics, with managers, all giving advice to the riders they come through. At the moment, looks like Sanakant really has the controls in both hands and has got a foot on the throttle to open up the gap. She comes around this right turn nice and smoothly done, takes the left hand turn, pedaling out that corner right from before the apex, coming back out again. Behind her then, it's certainly Van Looy, who is going to be in that third spot. Remember, it's been exchanged between a number of riders. They come around. Katie Compton currently has the fastest lap with a 7:22. Could well be she's going to close down on the leader. So here they come onto this straight. And it's Sanakant coming through, leading the race through at the moment. Then it's Ellen Van Looy, and it is Katie Compton who sent that fastest lap, who's gone right up there into third place. She's at 7 seconds at the moment. Behind them, then the riders coming through very, very quickly indeed. Look at this, the gaps now start to open. Some of the big names being distanced behind the race leaders that come through. So Sanakant leading and now 2 turns clear of the chase behind the chase as well. The best of the rest at the moment, that is Ellen Van Looy. Van Looy goes into that same corner. She's been tracked here by Katie Compton. Compton with the Continental Champions jersey on at the moment. As they come around this turn, Compton are looking to go around Van Looy. Compton can't be happy with the pace being set by Van Looy, but Van Looy sees that line to Compton. Compton, I think, just shouting she wants to come through, take a turn and trying to close down the race leader. Katie Compton set that fastest lap, and 6 seconds faster than Ellen Van Looy's fastest lap at this stage in the race. That means that she's got the strength to go through. She can keep that speed up. And a little bit further down, looks like Azufi just starting to make her way up around the side of Talita de Jong. So it's not going to be long before they come back in touch if they can work together. So Talita de Jong with Azufi on the shoulder comes over the hurdles as you see our race leaders go through at the moment of the race, being led out the front by Sanakant, and the early race leader, the series leader of the World Cup, just being distanced. That's Sophie de Boer, who is back there at the moment in 6th place. Now she needs to pick up the pace. She needs to get more points than this if she's to continue in this jersey. At the moment, it's Sanakant, the Belgian rider, leading out from America's Katie Compton. And it's going to be Ellen Van Looy, currently in 3rd place. But it's Sanakant who really is giving us a masterclass here. riding away from everybody else. She picked her moment. She didn't panic when she had early problems. At the moment, just opening up that gap. Now can Katie Compton stretch away from the rest of Van Looy, just starting to go backwards a little bit. So she's started to drift backwards, and we've seen this from Van Looy all season. She starts off strong, she starts to move back as the race goes on. Cyclocross showing no sign of that riding into the stand now. She rode all the way through last time. It's not just about staying on two wheels and not having to run, it's about how much speed you can carry and how fast you can go through. Katie Compton riding all the way to the end, as does Ellen Van Looy, but Van Looy zigzagging across that sandpit, and that means she lost time to the two riders in front, and that's drifted her back again. She's got to do all that work all over again, a little bit further back. Looks like Verdi shot just in front of Halikova, who is just clear of Ellen Noble. Noble in front of Marnie, but they're all fighting for the minor places as they come around that corner. So down onto the steep dip at the back of the race circuit goes the race leader. She's now clear of Katie Compton by that whole stretch. Compton comes around, dismounts on the left-hand side of the bike, goes around the bend a little bit more, makes it easy to get on and off the riders behind, not having that advantage, because once you're in a queue, you're very much at the mercy of what the riders in front are doing, and that makes it harder. All those little things add up. Cyclocross can be decided by the tiniest of errors. Make a mistake, and that little gap will open up incrementally until it's opened up into a race-winning lead. Well, is that what Sanakant has got at this stage? So Sanakant leading the race through, certainly looking like this is going to be her race effort. You can't do too many efforts off the front and try and go away. Uses a lot of energy. You have to pick your moment. It looks like she's got a good one at the moment. Katie Compton looking composed there in second place there for the fight for third, fourth, fifth. That's between Van Looy, Talita de Jong, as well as Sophie Debar. Sanakant around that turn up onto the top of the bank and having a clear run at it now that the traffic is out of the way. Front of the race, the best place to approach any of these technical obstacles. You know exactly how fast you can get round. You're not going to get stalled. You're not going to have somebody else make a mistake in front of you and take it out of contention. And Sanakant takes the right-hand turn, pedalling smoothly out from the apex, quickly out of the saddle, looking up into the next corner, looking where she needs to be. Then Katie Compton comes round Van Looy, just opening a little bit of a gap onto Talita de Jong and Sophie Debar at the moment. So they've stretched her back out again as they've come out from the dip down over the far side of the woodland. It looks like our Sophie coming back up into contention for maybe 5th or 6th place at the moment. So onto the bank in they go. Katie Compton closing right up on the back of Sanakant, but it's an illusion because at the moment very, very slow on the top of the hill. Drop down, that speed's going to pick back up again. Sanakant's going to be clear of that descent before Compton comes on it, and here she comes. Holding the bike nice and smoothly, just dropping down into that rut, taking it very, very close to the netting on the left-hand side that saw a number of riders tangled in it during practice. Oh, that's not an illusion because Katie Compton's coming up now, so it looks like Compton has accelerated away from the descent and she's taken that speed slightly better around that corner and onto the ascent. So Compton now starting to close down on the back wheel of Sanakant. So can Compton start to go clear at Jingle Cross? She was there taking victory, 3rd at Cross Vegas. Will this be her 3rd victory? Well, she's got to get around the rider in front, and she's making a move on the left-hand side. Well, that was very demonstrably, I'm here and I'm going to make my presence felt. The moment that she got on the back wheel, she was round the outside and in front of Sanakant. So Sanakant, after all that work, is now back down into 2nd place, and she's got Compton in front. You can see just how rough this ground is. The rider's arms shaking with the vibrations coming up through from the front wheel of the bike. There's a camera around that can all dislodge you from your prime position and cornering, and that's what's happened to a number of riders today. The vibration is just shaking them almost loose of the bike and causing them to maybe lose the front or the back wheel as come around the corner. No problems for our 2 leaders. Chase behind at the moment, that's Ellen Van Looy. Big gap opening up at Talita de Jong at the moment. Looks like she is in 4th place, but it's a big old gap that's opened up now, so they're on to the straight once again. So here we go. It's going to be 2 laps to go as they cross the line. Katie Compton coming through. Sanican takes a little bit and look down at the bike, checks everything working fine. Then Van Looy comes through now. What's his time gap going to be? It's currently at 7 seconds. 8 seconds he comes through. And then it's going to be De Boer. She's got Azufi and Lisa De Jong for company. Looks like Madrid's just closing on the... Sorry, Capucin's just closing on the back wheel there. And the rest, well, they're being led through. Laura Verdenshaw, who's been coming good as the season has progressed. It's got Pavla Havakova on her back with an Ellen Noble at the moment. Comes through. Our leaders back on that descent. Sanican comes through, as then it's Katie Compton who makes the move on the left-hand side. She got onto the back wheel just before they went into that climb and turn. By the time they were coming off it, she'd gone up to the front now. Compton taking that slightly different line to the majority of the riders. You can see it's not quite as worn. Sanican tracks across to drop back into the wheel tracks. You can see the focus of both these riders. Katie Compton wanted to keep it smooth, just go around these corners, keep the pace nice and high behind them. Then the riders trying to chase them down. They know that they're behind. Into the hurdles they go. Sanican smoothly over there, remounting. Nothing to choose between the two riders. Katie Compton clipping in nice and smoothly, as does Sanican. Now, who is going to break? Is somebody going to make a very, very silly mistake? Has somebody made the slightest error in this course, and they're going to be a distance, going to get caught by the riders behind? We're only talking single digits in terms of seconds between the first two riders in third place. It looks like Van Looy's been dropped out of that, so there's been a problem for Van Looy. And at the moment, it looks like it is Elisa Zufi, who's now moved up into third place. And then it's going to be De Boer in fourth, Talita De Jong in fifth, sixth place at the moment. Oh, that's Van Looy. So Van Looy's gone from third to sixth in the space of half a minute or so. And that's not good news for the Talent Fidea rider. So onto the climb they come. Katie Compton leading over the top. Sanican tracking that back wheel. Sarzufi in third place. De Boer in fourth. Fifth place, Talita De Jong, the world champion. Right on the wheel, it's Ellen Van Looy. So Van Looy still in touch with that group at the moment, but she's drifted back. Well, Katie Compton having a slightly smoother line through there. Looks like Sanican deciding to go for the run rather than ride around there. She's going to have to get this remount smoothly done and quickly up to speed. And it looks like she has had one or two problems earlier in the season, clipping into the pedals after the runs. No problems as it comes through the sand here. Now Talita De Jong not riding through there, and at the moment that's just opened up a gap for Sophie De Boer to go clear. So De Boer currently going clear in third. In fourth place is Azufi. Behind him then it looks like the Virgin Shot Havlikova battle is still unfolding. The two riders are just clear of Ellen Noble at that stage. So round come up onto the top. Who's going to win this? It's a really interesting battle between these two. They've really not got anything to choose between them. They can't get too absorbed in that. If they do, they're going to get caught from behind. There's not that much of a gap. And at the moment, that chase being led by De Boer, being followed by Azufi, then it's Talita De Jong. And it's going to be Kastjins behind, along with Van Looy. But at the moment, it's anybody's race. We're not far enough out, a lap and a half to the finish. And there's nothing to choose between them. Any of these riders make a mistake, they're going to be from first or second and all the way down into sixth place if they slip or slide off the course by enough. A slight stall, and the rider behind comes up to them. That's going to be very, very close at the finish. There's enough room to get down this finishing straight. A long time at finishing straight. If you come on it together, it could come down to a sprint. Oh, they're not going to want that to happen. At the moment, Katie Compton out the saddle nice and quickly out that corner, still looking very, very fresh. Then De Boer leading the next group through. Gap just there. And it looks like Azufi trying to keep that gap minimised. Off over to the back goes Katie Compton, just slows to go up over the crest. So does Sanican. So again, no major difference. They now take time to prepare themselves. They've got a couple of turns before they line themselves back up onto that steep bank once again. Compton out of the saddle, just moving the bike around underneath, just getting all the power out, getting up to speed. The two riders going through. Clear Sophie de Boer. Looks like Al-Soufi though closing down on the back wheel of de Boer, so it's going to be a real fight for third and fourth place at the moment. Looks like Talita de Jong's gone even further back. Well, here comes Jolien Verschoor, and she's moved up through that race field. Another slow start by Jolien Verschoor, and a rider who's already won at Koppenberg this season. Managed to make her way up to Talita de Jong and then take it on the steep climb up the Koppenberg. Well, she wasn't in touch today from the word go, and that slow start costing her dear, even though she's managed to pull back a lot of time and a lot of distance. She's nowhere near our front two riders at the moment, and the time is running out. Well, under a lap and a half for these two riders to complete the course here at Zeven for round 4, so down they go. Who's going to have a problem? Who's going to make a mistake? Now watching all those corners very carefully, but looking down at the ground so to make sure nothing's changed on the way around, just trying to get all that power out, keep the pressure on the other rider. Sanakan breathing down the neck of Compton. Compton knows exactly where she is, right behind her. Sanakan staring at that back wheel of Compton as they come down. And de Boer now comes to this same section. The gap's slightly bigger between her and Al-Soufi, and it looks like Talita de Jong just starting to close down on Al-Soufi now. So we said it was a battle between third and fourth. It's now third, fourth and fifth, because at the moment de Boer being closed down. Van Looy drifting backwards. It looks like Van Looy now a spent force. Havlikova, it looks like she's just moved up. She's gone clear of Verdun shot as we come down into the closing stages, not far before these riders are going to be coming onto the finishing straight. When they do so, they're going to get the bell with 1 lap to go. Around the corner they go. Sanakan so focused, looking at the back wheel, knowing what is going through the minds of these two riders at this stage. As they come onto the finishing straight, they know it's theirs to lose though. So through the start they go. Katie Compton leading the race, the American rider going through just in front of Sanakan from Belgium. And then behind him it looks like it could well be Al-Soufi, who's now got that third spot as she comes onto the straight. It is Al-Soufi from Sophie de Boer. So de Boer at the moment just out the saddle, accelerating onto the back wheel of Al-Soufi. Talita de Jong in a touch more. Castlejans just going backwards. Ellen Van Looy now drifting backwards as well. So it's going to be a real battle between third, fourth and fifth, but anything could happen. Pavla Havlikova starting to close down on Van Looy in seventh. So Van Looy's in seventh. In eighth place will be Havlikova. Verdun Short will be in ninth. And it looks like Noble currently in 10th place as they come towards the line. Marnie having moved up. She's going to be just outside the top 10. So Manon Bakker comes through in 12th. We're just going to see if anybody can close down the gaps on 1 lap. 1 lap's not long to go. The two leaders, though, still together. They come out and round. Only 1 or 2 pinch points left. The time is ticking down. They know that they don't need to go much longer. It's all or nothing now. They've got to make sure they make these last sections of course count. At the moment, Compton sitting in the saddle, smoothly accelerating out of those turns. Sanakan just out of the saddle a little bit more to go into those hurdles. Compton still in the lead, remounting fractionally in front. Now she managed to open up a little bit of a gap on Sanakan through those hurdles. Can Sanakan close this down? It doesn't look very much. It's only 3 or 4 bike lengths, but this could be enough now. Sanakan are working to get on the back wheel. There's a number of turns where if Compton breaks just that fraction too hard, Sanakan will be right on her both. Riders come out of the corner and Sanakan focused to get it on the wheel now. She's making a move up on the side, so she comes round Compton now. Does Sanakan want to be up on the front as they come into this section? She's gone around Katie Compton. They're going to take the right-hand turn, go back towards the steep bank before doing a full 180 degrees drop back down again. But Sanakan now accelerating out again. Not enough to lose Compton. She's gone round the outside. She knows she wants to be on the front as they go into this section. What can she do? Can she break away from Compton at this stage? Up onto the top out of the saddle, pulling really hard there. dropping it down off the banking now. Still nothing to choose between them, but now it's Katie Compton who is in second place, Sanakant who's in the lead, and it's Compton who's got to stay focused on Sanakant's wheel. Into the sand they go now. Sanakant had to run this last time. Compton was able to ride it now. Sanakant able to ride. She's continuing to do so. Can she keep this momentum going all the way to the end? She can't, so she's off again. Compton this time having to run now. Is this going to give the advantage to Sanakant? Sanakant does have a look over the side. Slight look over to the left, but was that enough to confirm that she could get the distance? She couldn't clip in quite as smoothly as maybe she would have wanted as she remounted there, Sanakant, and that has allowed Katie Compton a little bit of breathing space to chase down Sanakant. But Sanakant now, she's got about 15 metres. Is this going to be it? Is this where she goes out the saddle again? Ever so slightly coming up onto here. Onto this off-camber banking, and she's opened up the gap. Can she continue to open this? Could Katie Compton respond to this? Compton's got to kick hard. She can't afford to relax at all. She can't let anything else go now, because that could be it. Half a lap to go before we are going to see the checker flag, before we see the finishing line here at Zeven for round 4 of the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup, round 4 of 8. And it's Sanakant who is leading from Katie Compton in second. And behind a real battle for third, fourth and fifth place are Sophie de Boer and Talita de Jong, all fighting it out. At the moment it's Compton who is in second place, chasing hard onto the wheel of Sanakant. Behind him then it looks like it's Sophie de Boer who is in that third spot, and Sophie just having drifted backwards into fifth, sandwiched in between Talita de Jong. Well, Sanakant still with a foot on the throttle, but not able to break the elastic, not able to go clear. And I think Katie Compton could well close this down on one of these sections. It's not going to take much to close it down. So as they dive in, Sanakant around that outside track smoothly. Doesn't slow down maybe as much as some of the previous laps, maybe just buoyed by the fact that she's in front and she knows this is the time to make it count. She goes through behind then. It's Katie Compton in second place. So Katie Compton, who took victory in Jingle Cross in Iowa, took third across Vegas in second place. Leading the race at the moment is Sanakant. Sanakant's in the best position in the World Cup so far. Is third at Falkenberg. Now, can she make this top step? She'd dearly love to do so. Onto the banking, pushing the bike up, takes a very straight line up there, comes across towards her right-hand side where there's just a slightly smoother track for the bike to be pushed up, remounts, clips in, make sure they're nice and secure before dropping down here. She's got control of the bike, and the distance is running out for Katie Compton to close this down and get past. Is it all over before they even get into these last turns? You can see Sanakant really powering up here now, pulling the bike around underneath her, using all of that body strength to keep the speed high. She comes up onto the climb, drops down. You can see the grass just started to mount up on the outside of the turns. That ruts down the course, getting very well worn indeed now. Compton still unable to close the gap. Sanakant all over that bike, throwing it around underneath her. Compton coming up and through, and Compton maybe in slightly too big a gear. She's pushing a big gear up there. It's not looking as smooth as Sanakant does, and you can see the distance between these two riders. The time is ticking by. They're going to do 2 left-hand turns and go through past the pit, and that is the longest straight before they get on to the finish. Sanakant takes a look over her left-hand shoulder. She's looking at what the gap is behind. She's certainly looking like she's going to come clear to victory. She's got to keep composed. She's got to make sure she's focused. No mistakes at this stage. We'll see her come in to take victory here at round 4 of the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup. The Belgian champion takes the right and the left-hand turn. Looking smooth. Another look over her shoulder. She's not taking anything for granted. And that gap between our leading 2 riders and the chase behind really has opened up now. You can see they are in a class of their own. As they come round behind, it looks like Sophie on a big move, but look at the face of Sanakant. She's on the finishing straight. The arms are aloft nice and early, because it's victory in round 4 of the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup for Sannecat of Belgium. In second place is Katie Compton of the United States. And our 2 riders are well clear of the fight behind now. 3rd and 4th are coming on together. And it's Zufi at the moment in that 3rd place position. De Boer, the Telenet World Cup Series leader, is going to come across in 4th, but it's the 3rd place for Alice Zufi of Italy, a 4th place of the Netherlands, Sophie De Boer. And then it is going to be Talita de Jong in 5th, 6th place today is going to be Moor Kassagens of the Netherlands. And then Ellen van Looy comes across in 7th place. 8th place going to Laura Verdenschot. It's going to be 9th place for Pavla Havlikova. The crowd here urging on all of the riders. You see the face of Havlikova. They're not able to match the front of the race today. It's going to be 10th place today for Ellen Noble. Noble taking the final spot inside the top 10. Behind them then it will be Caroline Marnie. Marnie comes across stopping her clock. Looks pretty disgusted with her race there. Not a happy bunny crossing the line. You can just see Evie Richards making her way in, and it's looking like she's been down on the floor at least once on the way through. A sprint behind still coming in for the minor place. So 15th place was the sprint just unfolding, and that was Christy Majoris coming in front of Noskova of the Czech Republic for 15th. 16th, Evie Richards in 14th place. Joseph van der Berg in 13th, Manon Bakker in 12th, Caroline Marnie in 11th. So it's right to come across the line just inside of the 45 minute mark, 44-43 for our race winner. The crowds continue to line the barriers here in Zeven in the East Flanders region of Germany. The fast course certainly showing that the circuit makes for exciting racing. These riders all together, places changing all the way into the last lap. Sophie De Boer reflecting on what could have been maybe in that race, right up at the front of affairs at the start, and able to take it out to the end and just dropping backwards as she did enough to hang on to the World Cup lead. We'll soon find out as Jolien Verschuren comes through 21st place for Jolien Verschuren. She's going to be disappointed with that. She was expected to be right out there, not able to get a great start today, and that really took its toll. So some fantastic racing already. Our juniors are racing early on in the race. So let's have a look back at how the race was won. So all focused at the start, and from the start it was the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup leader taking it out across the line for the first time. Sophie De Boer leading from Talita de Jong, Sannecat, Ellen Noble right up in contention along with Ellen van Looy. And it was De Boer from de Jong followed by Sannecat, and then Noble who led away. First major incident of the race, Sannecat stalled. Noble ran straight into the back wheel, opened up a big gap in front, and allowed De Boer and Talita de Jong to go clear. De Boer muscling her way up to the front, but the riders chased and caught back on. Sannecat moving away up into second place, going round Talita de Jong. As they came across the line, the race was starting to form. The top 10 riders really establishing themselves in position as they then came into the sandpit. Sannecat continuing to make moves up through the sandpit, riding strongly all the way through the race. Started to break clear. Ellen van Looy tried to stay with Sannecat. Van Looy coming up onto the bank, but Sannecat really showing she meant business early on in the racing. She dropped down through the banking very smoothly, indeed every lap. Van Looy out there challenging for second place, but unable to sustain the pace and started to drop backwards. Meanwhile, from the back of the pack, racing through that top at 10 came Katie Compton, who moved away right up into second place, looking to bridge across. Van Looy leading the chasers, just not having that same kind of pace and just dropping backwards through that group. as the gaps opened up behind our two race leaders started to go clear, and this was to define the rest of the race as they went around the corners. Katie Compton of the United States leading the race out from Sannekamp of Belgium. Can't sat on that back wheel time and time again around the course. Just tracking the American rider, and then coming in towards the end of the race, knowing where she wanted to be, made a move up around the outside, put Compton into second place, and then continued to kick. Any slight mistake by Compton drifted her slowly further backwards, but Compton was not a spent force. She tried to chase down Sannekamp, but Sannekamp came clear in the end, breaking away and able to hold the end to take a fine victory and get her up on the podium. And very happy Sannekamp coming across, taking a victory. Katie Compton coming through to take second place. Behind Sophie de Boer, losing out in the sprint for third place. Third place going to Elise Arzufi. Overjoyed with the result. De Boer not so happy. So as the riders prepare themselves for the podium presentations here in Zeven, remember we have the Elite Men's World Cup coming up soon. Who will be on that top spot? The results as they came through: Sannekamp taking victory, Katie Compton in second, Elise Arzufi in third, Sophie de Boer in fourth, Talisa de Jong in fifth, Maud Castellans in sixth, Ellen van Looy in seventh, Laura Verdenschot in eighth, Pavla Havlikova in ninth, and Ellen Noble in 10th place. Don't forget, of course, if you want to get in touch, you can hashtag ToneNet UCI or WCX World Cyclocross. You can get in touch on Twitter as well, as we prepare for podium presentations. The crowd are just recovering from the racing and making the way down to the numerous bars, the VIP tent, the coffee stands down here in Zeven for a return of the World Cup, the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup coming to Germany, first time in 12 years. So don't forget the racing moving on from here, from Zeven to Namur, then Houston Solda, and then we go to Lazio in Italy, rounding out the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup in Hoogerheide. That will be on the 22nd of January. All the riders fighting it out for points that will take them up to the top of the standings. Sannekamp looked very good today. She clearly had it in her sights to take the victory in the right place at the right time and time again through the race, not to get too caught up in problems. And in the end, going away to take a victory. Well, the crowd await the victory ceremonies. Still riders making their way across the line, but the top 10 riders all coming through in 1 minute of the race. The leader shows just how close the course was. No massive gaps in the racing today. Well, the weather slowly clearing, the temperature just rising slightly here in Zeven. And the riders now recovering as the men prepare for their race. Just outside the top 10, Caroline Marnie came through in 11th, Manon Bakker in 12th, Joyce van der Becken in 13th place, Evie Richards in 14th, and Nicola Noskova in 16th, Christine Majoris in 17th, Alicia Frank in the 17th place spot, then in 18th was Lo Sells, 19th was Chiara Tiocci, and then Karen Verstraeten rounded out the top 20 riders. The fastest lap of the day, well, that went to Sannekamp, and that was lap 6 with a time of 7 minutes 18 seconds. So the standings will have changed substantially. We await confirmation to see who will be moving forwards in the World Cup lead. So our riders prepared for the interviews, the men getting ready for their race. It shows you just how tough the race has been. A number of riders just recovering on their way into the backstage because it's been a tough race out there. I think a number of riders just need a little bit of attention before we move on, as we show you once again just how hard the race was. The bank there, what you can't see from our pictures is it's really chewed up underneath. It's been kicked away every single footstep, destroying the ground underneath. And at the moment, only one rideable route up there. Nobody really able to get up there in the women's race. We'll see if our men's race will prove different. As you see, the riders, top two riders here in Zeven, making their way around. And I've got to see Sanakan looking happy. She worked very, very hard for that race. And you can see what it meant. Victory in the World Cup after what had been a slow start over in the States. Not like Sanakan to not be on the podium, which we would have perhaps expected her to be. But Sanakan unable to do that in the States. When she returned to the continent here in Europe, she was then racing better and started to show her old self. So Sanakan taking victory in the St. Nicholas Soudal Classic, taking victory at Zonhoven, Guyton. So our riders are ready. We're going to be moving across to the victory ceremonies here for the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup. The riders are backstage, all prepared for the ceremonies. Just keeping warm. You can see the hats and the jackets on. A very happy Zufi there after her third place, taking third place just in front of Sophie de Boer.
In third place from Italy, auf dem dritten Platz aus Italien, Alice Maria Arzuffi.
So Sufi takes third spot on the podium.
Junior Chief Steven Spike, die Preise überreicht von Jakob von Hart und des Hauptsponsors Steven. Ein Applaus, Ihr Applaus für Alice Maria.
So very happy Alicia Zufi makes her way on to the podium. She's going to take confidence from that as she moves forwards to the next round when we move on to Namur in Belgium. Next up, right in the second place, Katie Compton coming in here from the States after a little bit of a break in racing back to form and looking very strong on the course here in Zeven. So it's second place for the United States and Continental Champion. So one more rider to bring to the stage. Regular on the podium now onto the World Cup podium where we expect it to be. So it's top spot for Sanakans. She comes on to the stage here in Germany, in East Flanders. So the handshakes, the flowers, the kisses, and of course the prizes here at the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup. Sanakan taking victory. In second place was Compton, and third place was Zufi.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our champion, we play the national anthem of Belgium. So we're going
to have the national anthem of Belgium in front of the big crowd here in Zeven. So your top three here at the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup for 2016-17, round 4 in the 7th place, Elisa Zufi of Italy. In 2nd place, Katie Compton of the United States, taking top spot from Belgium, the Belgian champion, Sanekant. And 3 very happy people on the podium. A very interesting race, lots of places being exchanged. And don't forget to join me, Matt Payne, on the men's race. I look forward to more action on this very compact and tight circuit here at Zeven. First World Cup to come back to a German soil for over 10 years. So we move on to the World Cup leader. One rider came here leading that circuit. She wanted to take a race victory. She went away early, led out from very early doors. Not enough to go on to a podium in the top 3, but it was a 4th place today, and she continues in the lead. So the rider taking the lead away, moving on to Namur. It is going to be Sophie de Boer, and de Boer of the Netherlands will be in that Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup leaders jersey as we move to Namur in Belgium on the 18th of December. Don't forget all of the details on the UCI website, which is www.uci.ch, and you'll see just how far in front of all the other riders Sophie de Boer is. So the applause of the crowd rings out for de Boer here in Zeven.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to award the fastest lap of
and we now move on to the fastest lap. A very, very quick lap on the way around here at Zeven, the tight technical course, proving no problems at all. She took race victory. She had the fastest lap of the day, taking that by 0.4 of a second from Katie Compton. It is Sanekant. So fastest lap and race victory go to Sanekant, and more points in the bank in the chase of Sophie de Boer in the Telenet UCI Cyclocross World Cup Series standings. Don't forget, you can catch up with all the details on the website. That's www.uci.ch. You can tweet us at uci.ch as well. So as the crowd make their way back to get refreshed and ready for the men's race. You can see the presentation is still continuing down there. The riders that are being awarded a number of prizes, including Ellen Noble for under 23, a leading rider at the moment. So under 23 coming through. Ellen Noble, who had been up there fighting out for race victory, on one stage in 4th place. So we're going to go to the race winner for an interview.
Okay. Sanekant, many congratulations. Just how important is this first World Cup victory this season?
Yeah, it's very important. I'm happy I could win here. It's the first World Cup season of this season, so yeah, I'm very happy with it.
How crucial was the final sand stretch in this race?
Yeah, it wasn't my best one of the race, but I think it was important. If you had enough speed, you can ride through it. I think by the men it's less important, but not all women can do that. So I think it was the key moment of this race.
With this win, you also made a point towards people who are criticizing you.
Yeah, they always told if the world champion and the American aren't there, it's easy to win. But today I proved I can do it also if they were at the start.
Thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So interesting there that Sanakant has felt she's silenced her critics about not being able to beat the best riders. You can see in the World Cup standings, Sophie de Boer now leading clear from Sanakant, who's into second place. Moved away up in front of a number of riders with that race win. Katie Compton now up into third place. Caroline Marnie down into fourth. Ellen Van Looy in fifth place. Again, she's moved up. Miller in sixth, Noble in seventh, Antonou in eighth. Talisa de Jong are moving up the standings into ninth place. And then 10th place being rounded out by Katarina Nash. But it is de Boer leading clear from Sanakant. So some great racing here. Thank you for joining us on